Ultimate Halo Wars 2.
Yeah, Halo Wars 2. RTS game coming out simultaneously on PC and console, something we're very excited about. Going to be the first Halo game to ever come out on both platforms at the same time. Basically, three primary zones to the game. You've got campaign, which is going to be, you know, our story mode. Beyond that, we've got multiplayer, some classic multiplayer modes like deathmatch. We've also got some newer modes like domination and strongholds that are designed to reduce some of the management elements that are common to RTS, just to give some variety, but also to make it a little more accessible. And finally, third mode, brand new mode, not only for Halo Wars, but for RTS all up, is a mode we call Blitz.
Blitz firefight initiated.
Which was created for people who are completely new to RTS, but also for RTS fans looking for a little bit of a different spin with a tremendous amount of depth, where effectively we've removed base building, resource collection, things like that. You effectively create a deck of cards that you take into battle, and if you've got it in your hand, you can field that unit. So yeah, that's the game at 20,000 feet. I think if you played the original game, you also remember those fantastic controls.
One of the other things that we really felt was missing from the original Halo Wars was it wasn't on the PC.
Of course, yeah.
So we're now bringing it to the PC, which is absolutely fantastic. You may look at it as challenges for developing across these two platforms in parallel, but we look at it as a real opportunity to, as we say, we're trying to make the RTS for everyone. So people who have not played an RTS before, we want them to come in and play Halo Wars 2 and say, hey, you know what, I didn't think I liked RTS, but I love this game. What that allows us to do is when you're playing on a console, you've got a console controller, you've got less buttons to play with, less buttons to press, so you have to condense the experience, the joy, the fun that's in a strategy game down to the pure nuggets, the real essence of how it's fun, what you need to do, how you control your units, how you move around. So we have a radial menu that works really well on the console controller, and that translates really well to the PC because it's just presenting the core condensed information that you need to get down to the essence of what's fun in an RTS. With a PC keyboard, you could use all of those different keys, but what we found was whenever we thought of adding one, it was, well, actually no, that's superfluous. You don't really need that. So it was working with those constraints gave us not only a challenge but really an opportunity to focus our design on what makes a great RTS.
And I think if you are a Halo fan and you've been playing the FPS for a long period of time, I think you're going to notice there's going to be a lot in there for you. There's obviously the familiar units, right? The units you're familiar with, but you get to interact with them from a very different level. You actually get to play with everything. You get to play with the whole sandbox or the entire toy box of the Halo universe that commands at your fingertips. You're overseeing an army. But generally, I think the thing we've tried to do from a universe standpoint is this is a self-contained story that requires no prior knowledge of the Halo universe or any of the extended fiction or anything like that. So if you're a fan and you're familiar with a lot of the fiction, there's going to be plenty of nuggets in there that you're going to enjoy. But, you know, if you've been wanting to hop into the Halo universe but maybe worried about, you know, needing a bunch of prior knowledge to do so, this is the game, this is the time to jump in. You don't need to have played the first Halo Wars or any of the other Halo games to really jump in and enjoy the story. Effectively, you know, we're continuing the story of the crew of the Spirit of Fire, who've been in cryosleep for about 28 years. So they wake up, and you know, Halo Wars 2 takes place shortly after the events of Halo 5. So they're pretty much, you know, they wake up at the Ark, have no clue what's going on, and they respond to a signal. They deploy to the surface, and this is where they encounter Atriox in that, you know, famous video we've shown of Atriox just really beating the crap out of 3 Spartans. And you know, that really announced the game and Atriox with authority, right? You know, generally we see these Spartans overcoming these massive, you know, groups and really able to do anything. Very, very godlike figures. And all of a sudden, here's 3 Spartans being completely torn apart by one brute. And that's Atriox. And, you know, Atriox is remarkably dangerous because he's not only obviously very physically strong and powerful, as he just very easily overcomes these 3 Spartans, but he's also highly intelligent as well. So that's something you've never really had to face in a brute opponent before. And that intellect and cunning has allowed him to organize and assemble a massive, massive army. So you know he's up to no good on the Ark, but the crew really doesn't know what the heck's going on. It's about at that same time, though, that, you know, this event happens, that they also discover Isabel. Now, Isabel's a very new kind of AI. She's a logistics AI. She's not a battle AI. She's not a commander AI. You know, she's not like Cortana or Serena. She's just really out of her element, and, you know, she's got some history to her as well. You know, I say all the time with Aatrox, we wanted to create a villain with some depth that, you know, is kind of like our Darth Vader, that has his reasons for doing what that he's doing. We wanted to create that same depth with Isabel as well. You know, some stuff has happened to her, and she's going to go through a very interesting arc throughout the course of the game. And, you know, these are the things that make the characters that much more exciting and that much more fresh. So, you know, we say all the time the Halo universe is big enough for multiple stories. This is a new crew, right? This is a new slice of that universe, and they've got a really, really compelling story to tell. Yeah, Blitz is unique not only to the Halo franchise, but to RTS titles, right? I mean, this is something that really nobody else has done, and it was really born of a desire to make RTS accessible, right? So how do you remove the base building, you remove the resource collection, you build a deck of cards, you build a hand, and as long as that card is in your hand, you can field that unit. You know, as I say, very different for RTS, something completely different from the Halo universe, right? I mean, traditionally when people think of the Halo universe or the Halo games, they think of the shooter, right? I mean, that's just been the core of the franchise for so long, with the exception of Halo Wars 1. I think what we learned with Halo Wars 1 is, you know, there's a large segment of our fans who want to hear these different stories that exist in the universe, but they also want to play the game from a different standpoint. Like, RTS is such a different play style to shooter, and because of that, we've been able to do some really cool and innovative things that we can't do on the shooter side. And one of those things is Blitz, right? Just that notion of, oh, I've got a vulture in my hand, I deploy the card, now I've got a vulture, I've got a scorpion tank, or I've got a scarab, and now just boom, that unit is out there on the field. It is a very, very satisfying feeling to just like put a card down and suddenly see this giant unit suddenly come to life and start moving about, and now it's at your command. And that's something really unique to Halo Wars.
If you're a traditional classical RTS player, then we've got Deathmatch. So that's where you're looking after your economy, you're looking after your production queues, you're looking after your build orders, and you're building a combination of units that you want to take out across the battlefield and wipe out the other guy's base. We've also got Domination, and we've got Strongholds. Those are two modes with different objectives. And in Strongholds, for example, you don't need to worry about your economy, you don't need to worry about which building plots that you've got. That's about just going out and getting control of the various mini bases out on the map. And then we've got Blitz, which is pure how do my units react to your units? Do I understand the counters? Have I got a good mix of units? Can I move them around? Can I balance a couple of objectives? So starting to play Blitz, you can jump in and you can have immediate fun straight away. But as you play it over time and you start looking at your deck and thinking about your deck, thinking about those combinations of units, then you're going to start to see the depth of, okay, well, if I have one of these and I add in one of those, if he comes at me with these units, then I've got a perfect counter to it. If I add one of these units, then maybe I can go and collect the energy quicker than the other guy, which allows me to bring out more powerful units onto the map. So that means that anyone, whatever their depth of knowledge and understanding, and however deep they want to go into an RTS, in Halo Wars 2, they've got all of those modes, and now available on 2 different platforms.
I think this just turns the genre on its head and makes it accessible in a way that has never been done before, while at the same time having a depth and a sophistication to it that even a hardcore RTS player is really going to enjoy.
The thing that I'm most excited about is whatever you're looking for in an RTS, we've got that in Halo Wars 2. So if you're looking for the depth, it's there. If you're looking for the accessibility, it's there. If you're looking for the story, it's there. If you're looking for fantastic units, it's there. If you're looking for a beautiful, beautiful world and universe to play in, that's also there.
At least I'm not footing the bill.
Subscribe now for more unfreaking believable Halo content.